I was born in New York. The name is famous. It's on 33rd Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue. Uh, I was born in 1915, the first of three children. My parents were immigrants, Jewish immigrants.
From where?
My mother came from Poland. I don't remember the name of the city at this point. My father came from a little town called Zamachov, which was near Odessa on the Black Sea. There was a period there where the fraternal organization that he belonged to maintained contact with Zamachov, which, of course, after 1917 and the revolution in the Soviet Union was in the Soviet Union. And they sent food and stuff, but during World War II they were wiped out.
So you were born here?
I was born here.
And you went to high school?
I went to high school and I went to college for 2 years.
Which
I
college?
graduated from high school, Stuyvesant High School, which is right near here, in 1932 at the age of 16. I was a pretty smart kid and advanced classes and so on. Usually, you graduate at 18. And this is 1932 at the height of the Depression.
What college did you go to?
What was supposed to happen at that point, my father had put through his younger brother through college. My uncle also was an immigrant from Zamachov, and he became a dentist. And the understanding was that when it was time for me to go to college, that he would reciprocate and put me through college. By this time he was established, but it was 1932 and it was very rough. And he and my father came up with enough money for me to attend one semester at NYU. And then the money ran out, so I transferred to City College. I went there for about a year and a half and then about another year at night while working. So that's the extent. I was in City College during a time when it was a very hectic, radical activities around President Robinson, the famous umbrella incident. But I was not involved in those radical activities in those days. This took place around 1934. Where I became engaged in radical activities was in the 92nd Street Young Men's Hebrew Association. I joined that association when I was 12 years old and met a number of fellow youngsters going in a club. And we would compete against other clubs in swimming and basketball and so on and so forth. I was on the swimming team. And it was in that association in the Y that I became interested first in Zionism. I'm talking now about the years 1933. I was 17. And this whole group of about 20 young men because someone brought the subject up, it came in, and we felt very strongly in favor of Zionism. The basic reason for it is that most of us had encountered anti-Semitism in one form or another, some in terms of applying to universities and colleges to get in, and there was a quota system, and all kinds of obstacles were placed in the path. Families and friends, if they wanted to become professional people, had to go out of the country because of the quota system and universities abroad. So we were very much, the first job I went for in 1932 was, I graduated in February. I attended NYU up until June and then went looking for a job for the summer. It was rough times. My father was a laundryman and we were raised in the laundry. We were mangling and all the rest of the stuff in the thing. My father was what I consider to be a wise man in the sense of without any formal education, without any training or understanding about how to raise a family. Don't ask me from where it came, but he disciplined us in a fair way and helped us grow. I would start by, when I was 7, I would have a little push cart and I'd go delivering laundry for him to X number of people and he'd pay me 5 cents delivery. He gave us each a penny a day so that we could have chocolates and so on. When I wanted roller skates, he said, okay, you'll save for them. And I saved up enough money from the nickels a day. Instead of giving it directly to me, he would, save it up and when there was enough money. That's the way I got my first bike. which got stolen. I had to save up all over again.
Yeah, good,
Get another
okay.
bite.
So your main involvement was in Zionism as
Well,
a kid.
for about a year and a half, we were involved. Now, I can't say that we were active Zionists in the sense that we belonged to a Zionist organization. But one day, a fellow joined us. I was just talking, and he he asked us to look at a map of what was then Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
And we took the map out, and he says, "Now look, how many Jews are in the world?" And we're talking about the Jews in the United States, the Soviet Union, and Europe. How can they all fit into Palestine? Well, obviously, it just couldn't work. I mean, we couldn't possibly see how this could be encompassed. Well, he says, then if you can't take all of the Jews in the world, and the Zionists, and we believed it, said that there was going to be anti-Semitism anywhere and everywhere, and that the only way to defend against it was to have your own nation. If you couldn't put all your own people in your own nation, then obviously it was impossible. So then he said, well, what's the other answer? And what it led to was that you had to fight for democracy in your own country and for socialism. He was for socialism, and he first introduced us to socialism. He gave us a copy of The Iron Heel by Jack London. And what happened, this led to one thing or another, and four of us in the year 1934, living in different boroughs on our own, because of the arguments had been so logical that he presented, and that socialism was an answer to anti-Semitism, to chauvinism. We went looking for the Young Communist League. And we joined, each of us, that summer of 1934, one in the Bronx, two in Manhattan, and one in Queens. I lived in Queens at the time. And somebody in that Young Communist League was going over the cards, and he saw that all of them said that they came from the 92nd Street Y, so he called us in, and he says, we were all surprised to see each other there and at their headquarters in New York. He says, you're all from the 92nd Street Y? I said, yeah, do you know each other? Well, sure, we've known each other for 4 or 5 years. Well, I said, I would like you to form a club of the Young Communists.
But by then, was this a subversive activity officially, you know?
Well, I guess the communists, the socialist, the pro-socialist movement in the United States has been considered subversive by the establishment from the word go, always.
So you were conscious of the fact that you were joining.
Yes. Well, let me put it this way: here you are in the midst of depression and so on and so forth, and there was no. When I went to this place, they said I found this place on Astoria Boulevard, one flight up. What was it? It was the International Workers' Order, a fraternal organization that gave benefits when you were unemployed, when you died, you had a cemetery plot, so on and so forth. And when I started to sign my name, the guy that was there said, well, you're better off if you don't sign your right name. Sign another name. I said, okay, what name should I sign? He said, any name you want to pick. So I looked around and said, IWO Charter. Charter. So I became Mo Charter. Subversive, well, you know, at 18 years old, and how much did I know? I hadn't read any Marx, Lenin, and so forth. I read the papers. I knew that there was some kind of hue and cry against the communists, but the ideas were so logical that it made sense to join.
So, but was this, I mean, I'm trying to equate this, say, to students in the late 60s who joined, you know, SDS, this sort of thing.
Well,
I mean, was this similar?
Yes. It is similar in the sense that how does one get to a radical movement? One gets to a radical movement, A, through reading, B, through somebody who introduces you to the subject, and C, through your own personal experiences.